As noted in Stellar Lumens, we have broken down below our support level, which now invalidates our primary green pattern for immediate upside. But that should come as no surprise, as we've done the same across pretty much every other cryptocurrency there is. In our short-term views, the 2-hour view, we can see that we had our support set up at the 0.199 mark, or 19.9 cents for Stellar Lumens. And this marked the bottom of what I was calling the bottom of our larger correction back in July of 2021. By going below that number, it means that this can no longer be a 1-2 of any sort, because we have now retraced past the origin point of what I was calling the first wave. So this looks much better as an ABC, and it looks proportionally correct. We have two big shapes like this. There's no clear impulsive behavior. There's nothing that looks like a one big 5-wave structure. So that'll become more readily apparent on the big picture chart. That puts us in the red pattern, which is now our primary. And this, what I'm calling the C wave, does have some internal structure to it, which tells us that we may go as low as 13.7 cents, maybe even down to 11.7 cents or lower. It counts differently in the log chart, of course, so we'll look at that in a second. There is a chance that we're done with the downside. This has been such a colossal and violent crash across everything, not just cryptocurrencies, but also the stock market, equities, certain commodities, that there is a chance we're done. If we look at that MACD number, it spiked down pretty low and it's turned back up. So maybe done, may have a little lower to go. That would put us in the blue pattern. So again, the blue pattern says that we're either done or we're going to go slightly lower. The red pattern calls for more downside. But in short, the green pattern is invalidated, so that will come off the chart in our next update. I'm going to shift over to the big picture logarithmic chart. And if you'd like to follow along, I do have a link posted in the description below so that you can follow along with my chart in trading view. This is the big picture structure. So our big rally structure starts in March of 2020, March 14 to be exact. Ever since what I was calling the everything crash, we had our big rally that coincided with all the other cryptocurrencies. We peaked in May 2021. And then I thought that we were done with our correction back in the middle of the summer. But it turns out that many of the altcoins were giving us an early warning, specifically Bitcoin Cash, EOS, and Ethereum Classic hit lower lows on December 3rd. We didn't see that in Stellar Lumens or most other cryptos for that matter, but they were definitely giving us an early warning of the pullback to come. And thus far, we have followed through. So here too, our green pattern is now invalidated because again, we've pulled back lower than what I was calling the origin of our first wave. So the immediate upside setup is dead. Doesn't mean that Stellar Lumens is dead. We may be at a bottom right here. When we look at the MACD on the short-term chart, you can see the same kind of thing. We spiked down pretty low. We may be seeing a divergence that tells us that we have our minimum MACD here, and this lower low has a less low MACD. So that's a form of divergence we would like to see during a bottoming. So we may be close. That is what this blue pattern is, again, illustrating. It tells us that we are already done, or we may be very close to finishing. There is a strong Fibonacci resistance level right here at the 0.764 extension of this larger A-B structure. So we could hit 0.148 and then bounce back and maybe done. If that happens, I would be looking to buy very quickly. I have hinted and mentioned throughout my videos and comments that I have exited all my short to intermediate term crypto holdings positions. That includes Stellar Lumens. So if I see a 5-wave structure up and a 3-wave pullback down, I'll be putting out the BTFD warnings. So that's something that will rely on a lot of other cryptos too. We're going to start seeing similar setups across the crypto space, not just in Stellar Lumens, if that is the case. However, the alternate scenario is that we follow the red pattern, which again is now primary. So really, I should have rephrased it this way. I expect us to go into this box, but there's a chance we could turn around. That would mean that we're done with our downside. The red pattern says that we're going to come into this box, and that is based on, again, this A-B structure. Typically, your C wave will hit the 1.0 extension of this A-B structure. That puts us at the top of the box at around 10.6 cents. However, it could stretch as low as the 1.618 extension of this larger structure. That would be a very, very ugly crash. I wouldn't expect it to go that low, but you never know with these kinds of crashes. You have insane fear and pandemonium. And if we break down below that, I don't want to put it this way, but we have a major support down here, 0.026. We're getting dangerously close to that in a couple of cryptos such as EOS. You wouldn't want to break that because that would invalidate this entire structure up. And in stellar lumens, this could be interpreted as an ABC structure up. So this whole thing could have been some kind of a fourth wave or B wave bounce with some terror to come ahead. Right now, I see that as a very small possibility. I can't see us right now going below this big pink red box. The reason I am still sticking with this pattern is, again, the correction doesn't quite look complete proportionally speaking. And if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they haven't really gotten anywhere near their downside targets yet. And they're showing some manner of corrective bounces, especially today. We've had a pretty good bounce across. So I would not be surprised to see more downside in the short to near term to intermediate term across the other cryptos. Now, if we once we get down here, again, the same rules apply. I would expect to see a 5-wave impulse up, followed by a 3-wave pullback down. And the reversal would probably be quite sharp because of how oversold we are right now. If that is what happens, again, I'm looking at this as the bottom of a bigger second wave. So if this is the first wave, and that would be the second wave, the third wave comes next. And third waves are the most powerful and strongest structure in the Elliott Wave structures universe. So if we did that, have a lot of upside, but you're going to have a lot of early warning before we have that. So you'll have plenty of time to buy back in. If you start to dollar cost average, or if you start to kind of leg your way in, wouldn't advise against that at all. That's a good way to minimize your emotional attachment when you do go on the long side and start buying up. So when I start seeing some divergences, I'm definitely going to put out alerts, as I mentioned. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. And until next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.